So, NightWave Intermission has just come back out. I'm going to pull up a tab in the background where I can see the latest news on the Warframe's Twitter tweet. But let's jump into the new box here that was missing for a week. So, now we have Intermission 3 creds. A little bit annoying we can't stockpile our creds from number 2 and number 1. They're giving us new currencies every time. But there's a nice big starter pack at the start. New players, that's awesome. Then there's endos, some Warframe weapon slots, that's awesome. Some free potatoes, that's really great for new players, and a whole damn Warframe slot. Riven doesn't really help too much. The pilot Kuva, 20k of it, that's reasonable. Get like a whole 15 rolls out of that. Volcar. I feel like that's a duplicate. Yeah, there's quite a few duplicates. So the Spore Ephemera, Bursting Mass. This Ayatan Hamakara came from the recent Orphix Vanilla event when you did the tier 3, and so now we're getting another one. Interesting. You can't get those anywhere else though. I thought that was a bit weird when we just got like a random statue that we could never get anywhere else. This shoulder guard is a bit big and flashy, so that's cool. A free former bundle. Arcane Grace, that's not too good and it's probably pathetically worthless at the moment. This operator suit is really awesome for anyone that wants to get it. And then 2 Umbra Formers to cap out the whole entire NightWave. So, I don't really know how long this is going to be lasting. I expect it to be over 4 months at least with the track that D is going on. Keep in mind that this is only an intermission and they've listed it up to 30 different ranks. So one of the first intermissions only had 15 ranks because they thought it was going to be a short time. And then the second intermission they went up to 30, and then the second intermission also took like 7 months. And then this last Glassmaker season took 9 months or so. So, for me, progressing onto this intermission, because I play the game so damn much, I don't really plan to even read these challenges or do them, but if you're a new player, I'd highly recommend jumping into these, working through these bounties or weekly acts, and going for these higher tier ones first where you get more standing, and then maybe some daily ones where it's like complete one mission, complete another mission, because these are really simple usually, or maybe go pet your cat, that's nice. So then, there was also these duplicate things that I mentioned earlier. So I, for example, have a Spore Ephemera already. So according to the posts, if I check over here, it says that instead of receiving something like this Spore Ephemera, I'll receive 50 intermission credits instead, thanks to duplicate protection. So that means I have another 150, assume that's a duplicate, so 50, so 200, 250, 300, 350, 400, 450, 500, 550, 600, 650, 700, 750, 800, 850, so we're looking at 850 creds, and then keep in mind that every rank after 30 is going to be 15 creds. So every time you go for 10,000 standing is going to be another rank up of 15 creds. And then of course the cred offerings that you're getting through all of these NightWave intermission creds is spent in the bottom down here. So this is a store that rotates weekly, and you can see the timer down here for when it's going to be resetting again. So, importantly for new players, there is aura mods here. So, for example, this first week there's a pile of good ones. Like, actually all of these are good. Corrosive Ejection is always going to be useful, gets rid of armor, makes enemies weaker. Loot Detector I like to run when I'm looking for loot. Enemy Raider I like to run when I'm looking for enemies. Energy Siphon is a nice cushion for when you're running a high energy caster frame. Although with Arcane Energize, and with Energize and Dash from Xenoric, you don't really need this 0.6 anymore. But hey, it's an option. Also in here is the blueprints to some of the old alert weapons, and these are the only way to get these for mastery. So if you are looking for some cheap mastery, that's just going to be one of those 50 Intermission creds as a bundle. But there is other things that might be more important, such as the Vauban set. So Vauban is also only through here. The blueprint, of course, is through the marketplace for just normal credits. Nitane you also want to be stocking up on for when you need to build some of the more expensive primes in terms of Nitane, and quite a lot of the dojo weapons also need Nitane. Kuva is possible to buy in here. I think this is what most veterans end up spending their intermission creds on. I don't, because it's a waste, and I've got 4 million Kuva, so I'd rather spend my stuff on literally potatoes. Or on these aura mods. These actually sell damn well, because remember, this store offering is rotating every 6 days, and so these really good auras are gonna go away in a week, and then there's gonna be bad auras, and any new players that want to get a corrosive projectum because someone told them it's good have to go and buy it from other people through Warframe Market or something. Then of course there is all of these helmets, which are purely cosmetic, but it is worth going through and buying ones that you like and crafting them. So you can see I've got every second one or so crafted for all of these, because I only like a few of them and I barely care anyway. Wisp our helmet is actually meta in terms of equipping it. It improves your performance and increases your assets tenfold. There is also a few fake skins here that I would not bother picking up. So this is a skin blueprint, This is just a decoration, and then there's another skin blueprint. So, like, intermingled into these actual mastery-based weapons is these random skins that I would not touch because they don't change it at all. It's like the equivalent of just coloring it a little bit differently. That's like a really waste of a skin. Some of the new acts that come with this NightWave Intermission 3 include killing enemies while on your K-Drive or while piling a necromech. And so, for this, you will need to, not necessarily, but you can have a K-Drive of your own, and there are, by the way, K-Drive mods, such as Inertial Dampeners, Primo Flare, Extreme Velocity. These are actually useful meta ones. There's also some other just ridiculous ones. You can do whatever you like on the K-Drive, but these ones will help you get standing quicker. Some of the other ones of interest are Vapor Trail, which consumes energy and adds boost speed, and then Juice, which adds energy by doing tricks. Too complicated. Hildren can use their shield to act as energy, and so that's a bit funky and stupid. Then, of course, having a necromech through the Lloyd in the Necrolist Syndicate, and you can build that for a bunch of the fishing and mining resources of the Deimos open world. So the Deimos open world is the Cambion Drift with the Necrolist hub. And so speaking to Lloyd, which is the secret operator faction in the back room, is where you get Necromechs, the Bone Widow and the Void Rig. I'd highly recommend getting the Void Rig over the Bone Widow. Alright, so under the dying breath of our fallen brethren, we'll pull out our K-Drive and show off that when you press F, you can now get an aiming reticle, and apparently I've got a glaive reticle? What the fuck? Okay, yeah, but pressing E knocks you off of your K-Drive. So, you press F, you now have your aiming reticle, and you can actually shoot your weapons. So you will have to be doing this for the new challenge that is kill enemies while on your K-Drive. This is a way to do damage very easily. There are some of the trick mods which do an area of damage, but it's pathetically weak. Whereas this, I can just use a very powerful Kuva nuke. It's a bit weird with the aiming reticle going through your body, because your K-Drive is centered on the screen, unlike looking over the shoulder when we're normally playing in third person. Also, killing doesn't add to the trick score. That'd be kind of cool. Doing a drive-by as part of your, like, flips and shit will add, like, 10 points to your tricks. Then, of course, we can jump off this, and then pull out our mech. And also run around and kill that shit. I've got the Gradalor in here because I took a fashion frame clip recently for the Capturer challenge with Necromex. And there's no enemies that want to take my bullets. Alright, so while we're here and waiting, I'm going to have a look through the Elite Weekly Challenges list on the Warframe Wikipedia. So one of the possible challenges is Halls of Ascension on Lure, Ascendant. And so for this, you will want to jump onto any mission on Lure. I'd recommend doing a capture because there's no objective to think of. And the main halls, the challenge rooms, will be along the main path between the entrance, the target, and the extract. And you don't really need to look on any side paths or anything. You'll just quickly run through those missions, see if you find any of those special nodes. Then you can check out the wiki on how to complete those. Choose Wisely is another mission, and that is to kill or convert a Kuva Lich. So, you need to get a Kuva Lich, stab it with the correct Parazon, take its weapon, or maybe keep it because it has an awesome looking mask. And then, maybe later on, we're going to be using these exact things for these Liches as part of our crew on Railjack. He's got a Lavos helmet on his shoulder. Oh no, he's got tentacles on his shoulder. The next Elite Weekly Challenge is Day Trader, which is win 3 wages in a row without letting the enemy score in one match of the index. So this is the index, endurance apparently. But what you'll do is go into the low risk version. You will bring a limbo, and that way you can just cast a limbo bubble on the yellow goal, and that will prevent any enemies from ever possibly getting into the goal and scoring. You can also check out my other YouTube video, which is a guide to using the index solo with a Wukong. And that should be reliable enough that you can just kind of sit there, run 3 rounds, see if you get lucky, run it again, and just while you're farming credits you might get this challenge done. Another Elite Weekly Challenge is to complete a defense mission, reaching at least wave 20. Do that somewhere. I'd highly recommend doing it during a fissure. You can go for 20 waves, you'll probably have some people with you, and you're getting some relics unlocked at the same time. The next Elite Weekly Challenge is Elite Explorer, complete 8 Railjack missions. If you're a new player and you haven't got your own Railjack or your own dojo, or you haven't got the new Railjack feature coming into the relays, there's this button up here, and this will change your star chart into the Proxima star chart. At the moment this has 3 Proximas. There's soon to be released another one down here, which is going to be Corpus, maybe 2 more Corpus Proximas. So what you can do with this is you can click on Join Any Crew, and this will look for any available squad in this entire area in your region. So I'm in Oceania region at the moment in my settings, and you'll just find any crew because not many people play Railjack, so it needs the help. This is kind of like when you click on a node in particular, like when you click on Hydron and waiting for a squad. It's just join any. And so you can join to a crew, sit in the Railjack. The pilot is gonna, or the host is gonna have their own Railjack in there, and you're just helping them along the way. And so this is how you can do the Railjacks without owning a Railjack yourself. Of course, if you do own your own Railjack, if you want to start one of those missions yourself, you come into the back here, and there's a board Railjack. New area in the back of your ship. I've got some statues on it when it actually elevates, when it animates. And so now I'm up in my Railjack. Cephalon Sai wants to talk to me. And here's the navigation terminal. And so here I can't join a crew because I'm actually starting my own crew. And then I can go off and start any of these missions. The ones that are early on is usually going to be kill fighters and kill cruise ships. If you go to something later on, you also have to deal with optional objectives like galleon commanders and ship killer platforms. Similarly, in the Veil, there's actually a meta of going to Guion Point, which is always, except when it's got the anomaly on it, going to be fighters and cruise ships. And the fighters is the best affinity farm / intrinsics farm in Railjack. Now, if I'm not blind, I can see that there's a red flash on H2 cloud here, and that means there is an anomaly there, which is the sentient ship. There is no downtime on the sentient ship, but it does rotate around the Veil Proxima. So after playing on here for 30 minutes, it's going to switch over to any random node. But it's always going to be somewhere in the Veil. So when that is on key and point, we usually give up on our intrinsic farm runs because we don't want to bother with an optional objective. Well, it's not optional, it's a mandatory objective. Return to Orbiter is a button you can press. Cool. So once again, I can look back up there and I can actually see that Railjack of mine with a tube connected to it. That's how I got sucked up into it earlier. Damn, that Railjack's looking bloody and blue, like my ship. The next Elite weekly objective is Elite Test Subject, and that is complete 8 zones of ESO. Not Elder Scrolls Online, but Elite Sanctuary Onslaught. To do this, you need to have a rank 30 frame, and while you're doing it, you can bring along some weapons that you want to level, some pets you want to level, and you might want to play with some friends. When you're doing the 8 zones of ESO, you can go in and do 2 zones, and then extract, and then do 2 zones, and you can do that 4 times. Or you can just go all 8 zones in a row, and go for one of those rare drops on round C rotations. So, this, for example, is probably one of the challenges that I would get randomly done, because I'm playing ESO often anyway. Eximus Executioner. And, in fact, I'm pretty sure we have that on right now. Kill Eximuses. I've already done 3 out of 100 for that, you don't even need to worry. If you do want to get this done quickly, you can go do ESO. The next Elite Weekly Challenge is Flying High. Defeat the Ropalolyst. You can find the Ropalolyst in Jupiter. It is locked behind Disruption and also locked behind the Chimera Prologue quest. Yep, that's what it says on the wiki too. For this, you want to bring along decent operator amp damage to take out the shields, and then shoot the boss, and it's basically a giant moth. You charge up some bug zappers and then make the moth fly into the bug zappers, and you have to repeat that 3 times. For the next Elite Weekly Challenge, there is Grove Guardian. Kill 1 Silver Grove Spectre. I'd recommend going to this capture node, where you don't have any objectives, and make sure that you have an Apothec equipped into your inventory's gear wheel. So in my arsenal, I'll check out my gear wheel, and then here we have an Apothec. You can only carry 2 Apothecs of one type, so if I went through and tried to equip another Apothec, it would probably tell me to not do that. So with this Apothec, I'll then have a message from Lotus whenever there is actually a Silver Grove nearby, and so I can then look through all of the side doors when Lotus says that message and find the special Silver Grove room, which is just a nice serene little garden, and then I'll summon a boss in there and fight it and kill it. People will also try and bring along Necrosses and Hydroids and Koras to re-loot that body, because there's some interesting mods coming out of those enemies. Hold your breath. Survive for over 30 minutes without using life support modules in Kuva Survival. This is how I usually play Kuva Survival. When you run the survival mission on Kuva Fortress Taviuni, which is currently in a vampire mode as well, the life support towers can actually be converted into Kuva suction devices. And so how that works is there's going to be an elite that spawns next to the Kuva tower. You kill them and they drop a battery, a power cell sort of thing. If you walk near the tower while holding the power cell, it suddenly becomes a Kuva suction device. When the Kuva suction device is activated, it becomes a mobile defense for 60 seconds, and you can use a limbo to keep that perfectly safe, or a Kora to crowd control everything nearby and kill them, or just anything else because it's only like level 40 enemies. And the mobile defense does have rather low health, but you can heal it up over time with other abilities like Wisp or Vazarin. When that Kuva suction finishes, you get 10% towards your life support. You also get, at base, 200 Kuva, and then that 200 Kuva can be modified by any account boosters or event boosters, and it can also be modified by an endless fissure buff. If there happens to be a Requiem fissure on survival, This will give you extra resource buffs over time. After 90 minutes, you'll have a whole extra 100% resource buff. So, if I was to be very optimistic, if I had an event booster like this one, that would be ×2. If I had a count booster, which I could buy for 200 plat to get 30 days worth, I usually have up, I would get another ×2, ×4 total. If I stayed in a Requiem mission for 90 minutes, I would get another ×2. So that is now ×8 on the base 200 out of that Kuva thing. Then I also desperately bring along a Smetica Vat, mine's called Alloy Taker. This has a chance to give you ×2. I'm going to make a video about Smetas soon, DM. And so with that, out of the 200 base, you've got a chance at 16 times that amount. And so 16 times that, it means you're going to get 3.2k per tower. And those take 1 minute to complete. And so you can stock up and actually get 3 of those complete on 1 cap buff if you're playing it with friends and playing smart. Which means you're getting 3 times 3.2k, which is nearly 10k of Kuva in 1 minute after you sit in that mission for 90 minutes. But of course, the challenge is hold your breath, survive for only 30 minutes. So I would highly recommend going in there and activating the life support towers as a Kuva suction device, and that will also provide 10% of your life support when it does finish. Hydrolyst Hunter, which is on Earth. So on Earth, you want to go to the plains of Eidolon at night. You want to know what the hell you're doing for an Eidolon. You can probably find someone in your friends, alliance, or in recruiting that is doing a nice casual run. For this, you can actually get completely taxied through it without any quest progress. But I believe you need to have the Warframe quest completed to actually see the Elite Weekly Challenge of Hydrolyst Hunter. If you want to go with complete randoms, Konzu, inside of Cetus, actually has a bounty for killing Hydrolysts, but I never use that, and that means you're getting put with completely random pubs. During the week that Hydrolyst Hunter is on, you're going to have lots and lots of people hitting that bounty and not knowing what they're doing, so I'd recommend not pressing the Konzu bounty. Or it could be interesting. It's always fun to suffer. That's why we play Warframe. Elite Weekly is Kill the Profit Taker. That is going to be found in Fortuna. Fortuna, you go to the back room and you can speak to Yuriko at a secret plotting table. And there's 4 stages to the fight, and the final stage, through the bounty at the back table Yuriko, is going to be killing Profit Taker. I have recently proven to myself, on stream with a friend of mine, that you can take someone that does not have rank 5 old mate with Solaris through the quest line to fight the Profit Taker. If you do not have rank 5 old mate with Solaris United, you can actually use a friend to taxi you through the missions. The friend will have to load into the first stage of the Profit Taker fights, which is just fishing around for clues, and then you can join on them and complete that mission with them, and that will count as actual completion, but you still don't need to have rank 5 Solaris United standing. Then you repeat that with the stage 2. Your friend loads in ahead of you, you join onto their name, and then you complete stage 2. You have them load into the third mission, you join onto their name, you complete the stage 3, and then finally, for the Kill Profit Taker, your friend loads into stage 4, you join on them with your Archgun Launcher, and you bypass the old mate Solaris United standing, and then you can join in, kill the Profit Taker. Well, you're probably going to get carried. And that will complete the Elite Weekly Challenge if you do not have enough old mates standing for Solaris United. The next Elite Weekly Challenge is Crewship. Kill 1500 enemies. There's no notes on that in the wiki because you're just going to get that done over time. The next Elite Weekly Challenge is Machine Interference. Complete a spy mission with 3 mental console hacks and no alarms. Was added during Season 3 of NightWave. Oh, that's new. Don't use an auto hack. Bring Ivara to be safe, because Ivara can actually hack while invisible. I would also just no-balls that with Wukong, because when I come out of the cloud, you have a brief period of still being invisible, and I can quickly switch to my operator, and then crouch, and then I can hack while invisible. My frame, that is just standing there visibly, plainly, will not get seen by enemies because I'm not inhabiting it. The next Elite Weekly Challenge is Night Terror. Complete 10 Nightmare missions of any type. Nightmare missions are these red diamonds. They have a challenge, so this nightmare is no shields. There might be another one around. This one's timed. And so the node is 1 per planet and per day, I believe. And you have to complete all nodes on the planet, all blue nodes, to unlock the 1 nightmare node. These nightmare modes actually drop interesting mods sometimes, like Animal Instinct or Lethal Torrent, I believe. And so it's worth farming these anyway. Occasionally check out the wiki to see what mods drop, because recently, with the changes to alerts becoming NightWave, recently, 2 years ago, they really made it hard to farm some mods because I've got a 2% drop chance from a certain nightmare mission. And the nightmare mission tiers of the rewards go up with the planets, so these early planets are tier 1, then tier 2, and then tier 3 along the outside, and the void. So the void has Strybog Sabotage at the moment. The next Elite Weekly Challenge is Nothing But Profit. Kill the Exploiter Orb. That's a weird title. So, for this, you can complete the Thermia Fractures event sometimes. That gives you diluted Thermia, and then you can load into the Open World Orb Valors with friends from Recruit Chat or Alliance, and then go to the location where the Exploiter is. Or, alternatively, if you don't have friends, you can load into Fortuna, talk to Utico at the back table, and you can select the bounty for the Exploiter Orb, and that will matchmake you with other people that are doing that particular fight. That's going to be a lot of people during the week that this bounty is up, and then you will just all run over there and do it together. To activate the bounty through Utico and the back table, you need to have a diluted Thermia in your inventory, but if you load into the open world, only one person has to sacrifice their diluted Thermia, so that is a way for a new player to get tacted through the Exploiter Orb fight. The Exploiter Orb fight is very new player friendly because it's just a matter of throwing around canisters. It's more mechanics based, whereas the Profit Taker fight is very gear based, that you have to have high damage weapons. The next Elite Weekly Challenge is Silent Eliminator. You complete an Exterminate mission, level 30 or higher, without triggering alarms. So, how I would do this simply is an Exterminate mission in the Void has no alarm. The Corrupted don't have alarms in the Void. Similarly, the Infested don't have alarms. You will probably get this done accidentally if you're doing fissures or something, or the Sortie, something like that. Also, just killing enemies like extremely quickly in a group of 4 people will make it so they don't get a chance to set off their alarms. And so that's only when they walk over into a corner, into a console, and act there for 2 seconds, and then they turn on the alarms. So that's rather easy if you're not solo, or if you go to the Void. The next Elite Weekly Challenge is Sortie Expert. Complete 3 sorties. That's going to be locked by the War of Inquest, and you just complete this 3 times in 1 week. If you don't play enough, you might be able to work on it once or twice during the week, the weekend I guess, and then if you can work through all of the challenges, then you will get one of your old challenges to come back, and so you can complete the sortie runs later on, like much later on. Months later, you can come back and complete all the NightWave challenges and then re-unlock the sortie ones that you haven't finished. The next challenge is Speedster. Finish a capture mission in less than 90 seconds. So it doesn't say the level of capture missions, but I've practiced it a bit, so I can do like the Epit captures, the Uko captures very quickly. I can do this in my operator in less than 60 seconds. You can bring a frame that is going to boost your speed, such as Wukong. I've heard is simple to build for speed. You just mod some sprint speed mods, and the cloud goes quicker. You can use Nova with their wormholes, that lets you go quickly. Or of course you can just have waybounds on your operator to dash around quick. And then you can capture inside your operator and actually dash around forward. I went the wrong way. So 90 seconds is quite lenient for anyone that actually practices speedrunning, because you can get this done in 40 seconds on a good day. And 60 seconds is average. We'll see how well this particular run goes, where I'm just switching around randomly, unprepared. And of course your operator is invisible and immortal as well. Oh cool, I completed a complete 3 captures. That took a little over 60 seconds. 65. So that was a really scuff run, a really long map, and it still only took 60 seconds. So just don't get distracted. Survival. Complete a survival mission reaching at least 30 minutes. This is similar to the Hold Your Breath, complete Kuva survival without using towers. And so you can just go do Kuva survival if that's something you like. You might also find a fissure that is going to be survival and then stay in that for 30 minutes. That's going to be 6 rotations. And you can just open up 6 relics along the way. The next Elite Weekly Challenge is unlock 10 relics. Do fissures. Captures are going to be quick, exterminates are going to be quick, rescues are going to be quick. Spies are a bit iffy, but they are quick. Disruptions, you can actually go too quick and not get enough traces, but they are good if you're with a squad of friends. There is also excavation fissures. They've recently had a good buff to the amount of traces that spawn, so that's good. You can usually get that to work, and you can stay in them for ages and get bonus cryotic. We always need cryotic. The next Elite Weekly Challenge is Walk Without Rhythm. Kill a Tusk Thumper Doma in the Plains of Eidolon. So, to make a Tusk Thumper spawn, you need to be in the daytime of the Plains of Eidolon, the open world. And to make it so a Doma spawns, which is the highest level of Thumpers, you should go to Konzu in Cetus, select the Tier 5 bounty, because we don't want Steel Path enemies. That's the Tier 6 bounty. Load into the plains, and then go far away from the gate, because close to the gate is low level, far away is higher level. And then walk around a lot, just in Archwing, avoiding the actual objective, and just wait for a Thumper to spawn. And that should be a Doma Thumper. If you go close to the gate, I have had Bull Thumpers spawn, which are a lower level and won't complete the bounty. And so you need to be within 200 meters of the Thumper when it dies to get this challenge to complete. Some suggestions I have to killing Thumpers is you can bring Nova. They've got the slow ability on their 4th, although it will have diminishing effects over time, because the Thumper is a god. There's also Zeneric's Temporal Blast. That's really good if you don't want to bother bringing Nova. The Void Blast, the melee on the operator, will slow the enemy by 80%. And also, something of interest is you can bring Necros, the frame, cast your 3, and it has a chance to desecrate the Thumper and give you extra loot. So that's something I'd actually recommend instead of fishing or mining on the Cetus open world, is you can bring Necros, go hunt the Doma Thumpers, and get stuff out of it. There's also the damage issue, so the Thumpers are actually quite tanky. They have a weird damage reduction mechanic, where if you hit it with a single high damage bullet, like a sniper, it does far less damage compared to if you hit it with multiple low damage pellets like a shotgun. Something else I've also found works is a glaive heavy attack, because you can throw that and then explode it. That has very decent damage. On to the weekly challenges. The first weekly challenge is Animator, which is fully socket 3 ayatan sculptures. So this is the reason that I no longer socket my sculptures, because I might need to sometime in the future. The best sculpture to socket, because of the amount of ender you get for putting in stars, is the Autor. For this, it'll go from 650 up to 2700. So once you reach MR 10, 13, you get this auto install button, and you can just click that. So you can do that very quickly, use up all of your Amber and Cyan stars, and that increases the Endo by 2000, just for putting in 1 yellow star to the order. So the order is meta, better than the Nunza. The Nunza goes from 2k up to 3.4k, and this of course takes 2 yellow stars. So it depends, do you have way too many yellow stars, but that's still less than 2k, which is weird. The order is just like far and beyond for some reason. There is of course the new Kitha sculptures, so this is going to go from 450 up to 3000, so that's a 2.5k increase, and it also only takes 1 yellow star. Recently I've found that Cyan stars aren't dropping much, and so that might be because lots of people have a mud drop chance booster that's going to make more yellow stars than Cyan stars. Then let's have a look at the Hamakara. The Hamakara has only 3? I might as well animate it. You can click on these manually if you're like a not MR12. Oh, it's a bit broken. It's a bit spinning around. Come on. There you go. Now it's got a little bit of power. That's like a broken toy right now. And then finally, the last star. So that brings it up to 2.6k. And it spins randomly. This is really just going to be for decoration, considering these are not very commonly found. Whereas the autos, I've got like tens of them. And Nunzas, I've got tens of them. And so the Nunzas make for really good decorations. The autos make for really good endo. The rest are I would only ever use for decorations. And I've got 1 of each maxed. The next Elite Weekly Challenge is Assassin. Complete 3 assassination missions. You'll probably get this done throughout the week anyway, but if you want to do it quickly, I'd recommend going to Phobos and killing the Sergeant on Iliad. I can go do the Nightmare mission for this just to showcase it. I might change my loadout. The Sergeant is a pushover, he has no invincibility phases, he can die in 1 shot to any decently modded weapon. And so it's just a matter of running for 700 meters to get to him, running for another 700 meters to get to extract. Then of course I'm doing this during a NightWave. Another mission that is very good for assassinations is killing the Forward, which is going to be popping up in the Evasions list. The Forward similarly has no invincibility phases, and it's just a matter of running to them, punching them, whatever gun you've got, and then running away. That was my foreman. I'm gonna chuck a coin into this well. Apparently this... Oh, the Sergeant's dead body is inside the well. Oh no! Oh shit, I just exploded the body. Fuck's sake. Okay. This well has a decoration that comes out of it, a cosmetic. And so to make it so you can tranquilly chuck a coin in the well, you need to kill all the enemies nearby. I'm also getting the shit kicked out of me right now because I have no shields. So, due to a lack of shields, I have no shield gating, I have no immortality from that. Here, I can see this statue pops out. Now Parvos starts talking to me. That statue is now going to be in my inventory as a decoration that I can place inside my ship. The Sergeant and the Hyenas, which is on Neptune, usually their boss fight is inside of that room, so that's a good way to farm for those statues if you want. And there's only 11 of those statues total. Ignoring that distraction from our NightWave talking. So there, I just got a mag and fortitude parts. Our next NightWave weekly act is Cache Hunter. Find all caches in 3 sabotage missions. There's always going to be 3 caches in a sabotage mission. So something you can do, a good cache to open up, is the Hive on Eris. That counts as a sabotage technically. And so you run that, you can find all the caches. That's got a chance for the 60/60 electric mods for your rifle or shotgun. You could also just go to whatever other mission you're comfortable with. When you're looking for caches, it will be decent to bring a frame that has a higher loot radar and is able to break a lot of containers, such as Limbo, this cata-bomb for looting. I've got lots of loot stuff, I've got a large range, and with this I can destroy all the containers that I ever see, and the caches also look like a container on your loot radar. So you'll vacuum up all of the loot, and then anything that's left over is suspicious and is probably going to be a cache. You can also use this build for looking at the Syndicate missions and breaking open all the containers, and then anything left over might be a Syndicate medallion stub. That's these missions here. The next weekly NightWave act is Conservationist. Complete 6 different perfect animal captures, and usually that says on what planet, although I think it's only going to be on Fortuna. And so I assume you could take that to other planets, maybe? Depends how it counts it. You might be able to go to Deimos and get a perfect capture, or to Earth at night time and get some perfect captures on the cats and all of the quackers and the birds. But on Venus you'll need to use some bait, follow poop trails, and then call them in and be invisible. And it says 6 different perfect animal captures, which means you can't use the same basic level pobbers the whole time. You need to get maybe all 3 variants of pobbers and then all 3 variants of kubras. Similarly, different variants of birds and cats. Below it, complete 12 conduits in Disruption. Disruption is actually a very good relic farm. You can farm Axie relics by going to Disruption Apollo on Lua. You can also go to the Mars Disruption, which is Olympus, to farm Mesolith relics. And Disruption rounds take like 2 minutes when you're with a nice squad of 4 people collecting lots of keys. And to keep getting those C rotations, or B rotations if you want to avoid the medallion that gives you 1k syndicate rep, which is useless, you can complete 1 conduit. Well, if you're farming relics, you can complete 1 conduit, get the B rotation, fail the other 3, and that's going to give you more chances at relics and no syndicate medallions. But for the NightWave act, you need to complete 12 conduits, so that's going to be 3 rounds of whatever disruption you like. I'd probably just run Apollo for relics if I'm trying to get those at the time. The next weekly act is Don't Fear the Reaper. Complete 3 Kuva siphon missions. Kuva siphon missions can be found in your alert list, and so there's ones that have 1 icon of Kuva, and then a special one which has 3 icons of Kuva. The single icon Kuva is a siphon, and it is level 25 to 35. I rarely run these. The 3 icon one is a Kuva Blood. It's harder at level 80 to 100, but it also gives you double the Kuva compared to a siphon. So this will give you 1.2k at base, this will give you 600 at base. This 1.2k can be modified by a account booster, event booster, and also your Smeedkavat can proc at the right time and give you bonus Kuva times 2 at the time. So I have gotten up to 20k Kuva out of 1 Kuva Blood mission, which is nice considering it's just going to be a nice 4-minute mission or so, or 5 minutes for survivors. You do need to have the Warframe quest completed to see the Kuva missions here, but you can also get taxied to the Kuva missions before you've completed that quest by a friend. The next weekly act is Earth Bounty Hunter. You go to Konzu, and you select the first, and you have to do 5 different bounties. So you can select the first bounty, the second bounty, the third bounty. They're going to be easy and short. Then you can wait for the rollover in every 2 hours, I believe, at Konzu. And then you can do the first bounty, the second bounty, the third bounty again. If you want to, you can also go and do the Terrorlist bounty and the Hydrolyst bounty. And that will count as 2 separate bounties, and those would actually be pretty quick if you're good at the Eidolons, but otherwise, to keep it simple, you can just do the low-level bounties. A suggestion I would like for this is to have it be complete 20 bounty phases, And so in that case, it would be more rewarding to go do the tier 5 bounty, which has 5 phases, and complete that 4 times in a row to complete 20 different phases. That would be interesting. And you could also, of course, go down to the tier 1 bounty, complete 3 phases every time you run that, and it would take a bit longer. But that would be much more rewarding to players if it was changed to phases instead of different bounties. The next weekly challenge is Earth Fisher. Catch 6 rare fish in the Plains of Eidolon. So the rare fish in the Plains of Eidolon are those that are baited, and those include the Puthol, Blackbird, Mercury, and Norg. So you need to go to Fisher High Look in Cetus and buy baits. You have to buy the baits for 100 to 300 standing. And except for the Mercury, you need to go to certain water types at night. So the Mercury will be the easiest because it's just day or night, and you can throw the Mercury bait into the ocean, the edges of the Plains of Eidolon map, and it will be spawning some Mercuries. Of course, look for some bubbles across the top of the water. That's going to be a fishing hotspot, and that's going to have more fishing spawns. And also use your glowing bait so that you can see the fish really easily. Another thing I usually do while fishing is I bring Zephyr with the 3-term augment, which is Turbulence. So Jetstream augment on Zephyr is useful for me when fishing. It increases the projectile speed by 100%. That scales with strength, so that can go up to 300%. And so I can make my spear, my fishing spear, feel like hit scan. So I can just click on the glowing fish and it's always going to hit. It's just a matter of me clicking, which is challenging. I play Warframe, of course. The next weekly challenge is Earth Miner. Mine 6 rare gems or ore in the Plains of Eidolon. So that's a matter of going out to the plains, bringing your mining tool. So the Sunpoint Plasma Drill is better or as good as all of the Cetus drills, and it's cheaper to buy from Fortuna at rank 0. And that will... You'll run around the open world with your Sunpoint Plasma Drill. You'll have it equipped in your hand, and it shows you nearby mining nodes on your minimap. Walk over to them, complete the hard to get challenge, and it will give you a guaranteed rare thing. You can also go to the plains at night, and you'll see more gems, the blue nodes, rather than all the red nodes, and that will be nice. So the rare gems or ore on the earth are the Crimzane, Nith, Centurium, and Auron. The next weekly act is complete 3 Exterminate missions. That's going to be easy. The next weekly act is Enhance. Pick up 8 rare mods. That'll happen over time. You can also go to the Index, which has lots and lots of rare mods dropping. You can also check out my Index video on how to cheese that with Warframe. The next weekly act is kill 30 Eximus. This is going to happen over time, and you can also go to Sanctuary Onslaught with Samaris, and that's going to have lots of enemies, lots of Eximuses. The next weekly act is complete 3 Railjack missions. There's also Flawless, which is clear a Railjack boarding party without taking damage to your Warframe. There's also Forward Thinking, which is destroy a cruise ship with forward artillery. There's also Friendly Fire. While piloting a hijacked cruise ship, destroy 3 enemy fighters. So, as a new player, to join into some Railjack missions, you can click on this mission at the top of your map. Then you can see the Proxima maps instead, and you can join any crew to get sucked in there, and then try and find a way to do those missions. The Explorer bounty, which is complete 3 Railjack missions, should be easy. You just sit in there for 3 different missions. Flawless is clear a Railjack boarding party. So for this, you'll have to bait out some boarding parties, which is going to be a drop ship that is coming and hitting your Railjack. A bunch of enemies will appear randomly inside your Railjack. You'll want to put some crowd control on them, and then kill them while they're frozen, however you do that. The Forward Thinking is kill a cruise ship with forward artillery. This is unlocked with the intrinsics at level 5 on Gunnery. So at here you can control the forward-mounted artillery cannon, and with that you just have to work with your pilot to have the pilot aim at something, and then you can click the shoot button on the forward artillery and kill the cruise ships. So you'll usually have someone doing this during key and point intrinsics runs. The next challenge is Friendly Fire. While piloting a hijacked cruise ship, destroy 3 enemy fighters. So for this you need to not kill the cruise ship with your forward artillery, and you also need to have fighters left over in the area for you to kill with your stolen enemy cruise ship. So for this you'll definitely want to go with friends, and also you might not be able to do it on Earth missions because there's only 20 fighters and you can kill those 20 fighters extremely quickly, accidentally. Although you do want to go to Earth missions because the fighters are weak and you can actually kill them with the cruise ship. It is possible to kill the gear and point, like the Veil fighters with the Veil level cruise ships, but it's going to be easier on Earth. So going with friends is going to be best for that, or just working with the random people that you find in your mission. The NightWave Act is Gilded, to gild 1 modular item. These modular items include Zors, the melees, kick guns, the secondary or primary guns, the mower, companions, or the amp. The easy way to do that is to go and buy a mote amp from Onko in Cetus, and level it up and then gild it, and that actually counts as gilding. And the mote amp itself has a 10-minute crafting time, so you can buy the mote amp blueprint, craft it, level it, gild it, and then you don't even need to level it again after gilding. The K drive, even though it's modular, doesn't count as a modular item for this challenge, and when you gild it you don't get mastery out of gilding. That's actually giving the mastery the first time around. Good friend, help Clem with his weekly mission. You can find the help Clem here. It'll teleport you into Davo. When you complete this mission, you also get Clem clone blueprints, and Clem clone blueprints can give you a spectre that is going to be a copy of Clem. Spectres are useful only in extremely high level endgame content. When you don't have a melee to kill stuff, you can get your spectres to kill stuff, because the spectres, when you deploy them at level 5000, the spectre will have level 5000 health and guns. The next weekly challenge is Heavy Ordnance. Kill 500 enemies with an arch gun. What you can do for this is not do an archwing mission, but bring a weapon onto your heavy weapon slot, and then having the archgun deployer that you get from the Profit Taker fight. Something else you can do is summon your Necromech in the open world and use the Arcabex. So you might just want to run around some Deimos bounties using your mech, and the primary gun and the exalted gun are both going to be archgun kills. And so that archgun deployer for ground missions is earned through the Profit Taker heist. You can cheese that, like I mentioned during the Profit Taker bounty, during the Profit Taker NightWave Act earlier that I mentioned. Invader. Complete 9 invasion missions of any type. So for this, you look at the invasions list here, and if I was desperate to do invasions, I can see that there's only 2 here, and usually you only have to run the invasion 3 times per mission, but you can just run it extra times. So this forward mission is very quick, that's a forward boss. And so I could just run this 9 times purely for the bounty. And I have seen some people do that. Or you could not be insane and you could just wait for new invasions to pop up and do very different ones. So I could go off and do a defense mission 3 times. Technically it would be fastest to do the forward 9 times in a row. The next weekly NightWave Act is Jailer. Complete 3 capture missions. Go find a capture mission somewhere. Also, the next weekly challenge is Not a Warning Shot. Kill 500 enemies. You'll get that done over the week. You can also go to Elite Sanctuary with a nuking frame to kill lots of enemies, such as Sarin or Volt or Mirage. Now boarding. Complete 3 different K-Drive races in Orb Valis. You get a free K-Drive whenever you complete the Voxelaris intro quest. You can take that to do races. When you equip your K-Drive and you're floating around on it, if you hold down M, it'll pull up the map in that open world, and that will show you where races are, and so then you can put a waypoint on them, fly to them in your Archwing, and then run the race. And maybe just complete the same race? No, complete 3 different races. So there should usually be at least 3 races, so you can get that all done in one day, easy. There is a bug where Cami and Drift races are also counted for that challenge, because they didn't actually code it to be only Orb Ballast. The next weekly challenge is Operative. Complete 3 spy missions. You can bring a Wukong to get those done fast, and rarely set off alarms. And you might also find a fissure that is on a spy mission, which is going to get 2 things done at once. The next weekly challenge is Polarized. It is use 1 former on a weapon to polarize it. So that is going to be done, not in the simulacrum because that's a bug, and so they didn't know how to fix that, so they just put it into the words. I've got a Nova here. Nova probably deserves a former. I can go into the actions menu at the bottom, select polarization. I will be going for a normal former in this case, because I'm pretty sure I've got an Umbra former already. And stance former. So the stance former is... oh, I do not have stance. Okay, I'll put the aura former onto my Nova. So aura former is special. It makes it so that Warframe's aura slot, the one in the top middle, is going to be compatible with any mod. And so now this is always a dash. And so now I need to get my frame back up to rank 30, so for that I'd probably use Adaro to level up my Nova. The next weekly challenge is Protector. Complete 3 mobile defense missions. I'd recommend looking for a mobile defense fissure to get 2 things done at once. There is similar challenges, which is Rescuer, complete 3 rescue missions, and Saboteur, complete 3 sabotage missions. Once again, we're looking at fissures to get 2 things done at once, but you can do those pretty quickly with Wukong to fly around, or any other speedrunning frame, maybe a Titania with a Thermal Sunder infuse. Is Sanctuary Researcher. Complete 5 scans for Cephalon Samaras. For this, you need to have a Sanctuary target up here, and to get one of those, you can talk to Cephalon Samaras inside a relay, which is able to get fast travel to by talking in here, going to Miscellaneous, clicking here, and then you can visit Cephalon Samaras. Talking to Cephalon Samaras once a day gives you a new target, and then you can finish all of those. There's between 2 to 4 scans on each daily target, and then talk to Cephalon Samaras again to complete that target. And then the next day, after the reset, you can log in, talk to Samaras again, and pick up another target for 2 to 4 scans. Another thing a new player can do is each of these research entries is going to be 10 scans. So you can set that as an active goal, and that will give you 10 targets for the Lancer, plus the 4 daily targets that Samaras gives, or 2 to 4. Link to the Samaras target guide on my Twitch channel, if you want to drop by and pick that up. I won't be able to show it on the recording right now though. And so that is a list of where every single Samaras target can be found in missions reliably. The next weekly challenge is Sound Sleeper. Complete 3 Nightmare missions of any type. Nightmare missions are, once again, the missions that have a red diamond on them, and I feel like there's going to be one hidden behind some of these other Kuva Flood missions, so let's look at Sedna. Right, here is a red diamond around a mission, and so there's the Nightmare at the top. This is timed mode. Each Nightmare has a random modifier that makes it harder, maybe, or just interesting. And so complete 3 of these. The Nightmare mission is only available on the planet after you completed all blue nodes on that planet. And then every single planet has its own Nightmare mission, so there's the Ropalolyst on here. That one would be so tough that I wouldn't even try it. There's Sortie Specialist. Complete 1 sortie. So you can find the sorties up here, and they are unlocked after completing the Warframe quest. You only need to do 1 in a week, so that's just 1 day, get through it. Supporter. Complete 10 Syndicate missions. Syndicate missions can be found under the Sanctuary Consort missions. I currently have 4 Syndicate missions. 4 different syndicates that like me, so I've got 3 missions per syndicate. You should have 3 missions per syndicate that likes you, but the standing on them is going to change depending on how much they like you. So I'm on the max tier of these different syndicates that I was just looking at. Yeah, they're all in the 132. This is a nice balance that you can do between syndicates without losing standing anywhere. and you're just completely stomping on parent sequence and new loca. Weekly challenge is test subject. Complete 8 waves of Sanctuary Onslaught. For this, doesn't say Elite Sanctuary Onslaught, but you can do either of these nodes and it will count towards the act of completing 8 waves. And they don't have to be completed in succession, they can be completed in total, so you can load in and out of the Sanctuary Onslaught and only complete 2 waves each run. Or 4, and do it twice. Although you might want to go for the 8 rounds, that'll have round C rotation drops, such as Core Parts from Sanctuary Onslaught, or Lato Barrel from ESOl. The next weekly challenge is Tusk Thumpin, which is any Tusk Thumper on the Plains of Eidolon. You might want to go kill a Doma for the loot, based on the guide I gave earlier for Doma Thumpers, or you can just load in during the day. The next weekly challenge is Unlock Relics, 3 of them. You do fissures up here, you put a relic up, it'll open up accounts. The next weekly challenge is Vault Looter. This is unlock 4 Orokin Derelict Vaults. These are not Orokin Derelict Vaults, they're now called Deimos Vaults. For this, I would recommend doing the capture mission. And something else of interest is, nowadays, with the infinite gear wheel, one person can do this solo, and they can just bring along other people to help them find the gates. So what you'll look for is dragon keys, and one person can equip all of the dragon keys, like so. What you will find is the dragon keys will make your gameplay experience a bit tough. The bleeding will reduce your health by 75%, decaying, reduce your shields by 75%, extinguished, reduce your damage by 75%, and hobbled, reduce your speed by 75%. So, the extinguished one is the worst one for me. Decaying is actually kind of meta because it works well with shield gating. And then hobbled is easy to get around because you can bullet jump. Any parkour will bypass the speed reduced. And also your operator, the dashing or running around, will also not be affected by any of the keys. So you don't lose health or shields on your operator or damage. And then health, if you've got shield gating, is going to be fine. So you can kind of work your way around these, except for the extinguished, which is annoying. But if you've got extremely high damage, then you should be able to kill a level 15 capture target. So if I walk around now, I very slowly walk. I'm sprinting at the moment. And then yes, you go into the capture mission. I might actually do a run through of this. I'll find a derelict vault and I can show you what the doors look like. So keep in mind I have all 4 keys equipped at the moment. I'm also on public, so someone might join onto me. Frames that I would suggest for this is either literally anything. I also quite enjoy using Wukong for this. The cloud speed is affected, but besides that, it's fine to just parkour around. And Wukong is completely immortal for 3 deaths for free. It has as its passive. Although after that you do run out and you'll start dying, but it should be fine in a short mission like this. So I suggest capture because there's only one enemy you actually have to worry about doing damage to. And I just one-shot them even with my extinguish key. So now what I'm doing at the moment is, I have it memorized, but I'm looking at every door that is this size. So this is a small door. Here I've got a larger door. And back here... oh, there's the gate, by the way. So this is what I'm looking for. So this is going to be in the small door sized frame. And here I need to use an extinguished dragon key to open up the gate. So there's 4 things, and that symbol in the middle is the one you need. I, of course, have all 4 keys. I also just died like a bitch. Alright, so after I open this, it unlocks this door. And every time you do this, be sure to actually come in and collect the artifact. There's nothing else in here special, but hey, maybe you want to open up the lockers. You can also admire Excalibur Prime because you didn't buy the Founders Pack like me and don't have it. Then after you finally find that door, you can run to extract. So something to keep in mind is all of these sort of secret doors around the place. I found my gate pretty easily, so I'm not going to be able to showcase it too well, but otherwise You can drop by stream, and I'm happy to run these corrupted vaults anytime because they only take 2 minutes or so to complete each run, if you're having a lot of trouble. And see, I am parkouring this whole time, but if I was just kind of walking around, I'd be very slow. Parkour, of course, also gives you a high damage reduction, so rolling or bullet jumping is going to reduce damage you take. And I just completed another capture mission. I'm going to get this capture mission thing done during recording this video. So here I got anemic agility. This mod is pretty awesome on Misa's regulators, so that would actually sell for a decent price. That was also on my rank 2 Nova. I think I had like 20 health and 20 shields there. Shit. The Oregon ciphers that you get for completing this mission are useless and used to be used, but they're just not for anything anymore. And as they say, it's from Oregon Derelict Belts. You get one of these per mission that you complete. So if I were to link Broken Cipher, I can have a look at how many missions of this I've done. I've opened up 76 Oregon Derelict Bolts. So hey, that's a way that you can count your RNG, I guess. Something else I need to remember every time I finish one of those missions is to go back into my gear wheels, and I can right click to remove any of these keys that I don't want. I'll keep the decaying dragon key around. Also, I need to go into my foundry, and after each mission I usually go into my keys list and craft the one that I used to refill it up to max. Oh, I've got 10 of each, for example. Next on the weekly challenges is Venus Bounty Hunter. Complete 5 different bounties in the Orbalis. So for this you can load into Fortuna on Venus and talk to Yudico in the main area. Complete their 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, even the Steel Path bounties. So you need to look for 5 different ones. You can also talk to Yudico in the back room and complete some of the Profit Taker and Exploiter bounties, and those count as separate different bounties in Orbalis. So for example, Profit Taker Stage 2 and Stage 4 are done very quickly nowadays. And then you could go do 1, 2, and 3 from the main Yudico. Also, if you don't have those backroom ones unlocked and you can't handle the high level difficulties, you can wait for the bounties at Yudico to roll over, and then select the low level ones again, and that'll be different bounties compared to before, and that's a 2-hour rollover timer. Weekly challenge is Venus Fisher. Catch 6 rare silverfish in Orbalis. The rare fish in Orbalis are actually possible to catch without using bait. The rare fish include Longwinder, Tromazon, Charamote, and Sinithid. The easy ones here are going to be the Longwinder, which is during the warm, in the peak of warm, in the lake that is right in front of the gate, or maybe the Tromazon, which is in the cold, which is going to be any ponds on the surface which are not near the lake. The Charamote and Sinithid are both found in caves, usually next to hotspots, and of course all of those 4 fish have their own bait, which makes them spawn more, but you don't necessarily need to have the bait to get them to spawn at all. And so if you don't have the unlocks to get the bait, you can still fish it. You can also have someone come along and give the bait for you to taxi you to those fish to make it a bit easier. But I would recommend Longwinder or Tromazon depending on the cold or the warm. And last, weekly challenge is Venus Miner. Mine 6 rare gems or ore in the Orbalis. The rare gems or ore include Amethyst, Pist, Zodian, and Hesperon. So for this, you will have your gear wheel. The Sunpoint Plasma Drill is the best mining drill and it's cheap, and you can hold this out and run around and find some nodes. Try and complete the bonus small node, and that will be the best way to get these rare items to drop. So, Future Wine here, and turns out that there is a new bounty that I had not seen in the wiki. This is Vault Raider. Complete an Isolation Vault Bounty mission on Deimos. This is currently active. It's a weekly bounty for 4,500 standing. So, for this, it is on Deimos. You need to jump into the Necrolist. And we're going to go talk to the Mother. And the Mother now has 3 bounties for each of the tiers of vaults. In the first tier of the vault, you have one mech. It's the easiest, as low level, and that one mech also has a guaranteed orientation matrix when you kill that mech. So if you need to farm orientation matrices for rank up standing, then farm them in the tier 1 vault. The tier 2, the 2 mechs inside there drop the ballistics matrix, and in the tier 3 vault, the 3 mechs will drop animus matrices, which are worth the most. So doing any of these 3 bounties will get you that completed. That is the entirety of all possible NightWave challenges into the future, and not including daily ones and not including those that got removed. Hopefully this helps you as a resource and just my extra knowledge on how to work on all of these. You can come check me out at twitch.tv/exo_y. The link is in the top of the description. And you can be sure to drop over, ask any questions you've got, ask for help with any of these NightWave bounties when they come up for you. You can also join the Discord and the Twitter to see when I'm going live and when I'm posting videos. Thank you very much for listening.